PR Connections Radio presents. This episode of the PR Connections podcast is brought to you by Classy Communications PR and Advertising. Classy Communications provides public relations and marketing solutions for businesses, professionals, and nonprofit organizations. They can deliver the true meaning of your business with press releases, social media marketing, web development, email marketing, book publishing, and much more. Wherever your potential clients are, they can help you connect with them. Visit classycommunications.net to learn more about their suite of services that can help your business stand out from the rest. Classy Communications is your solution for business success.
Hello there, this is Jesse Oakley III, and welcome to the Sunday Morning Chat Series with Jesse Oakley III. The premise of this podcast is for myself to have an interview a plethora of positive people that are making big differences in their communities. You name it, singers, writers, entertainers, speakers, podcasters, whatever it is, you'll hear from them first, right here on the Sunday Morning Chat Series with Jesse Oakley III. And today we have ourselves a wonderful episode. Now, many of you know that I got started in the podcasting game in 2020 with the Sunday Morning Chat Series. And the idea and the premise at the time was 2020 was a rough year with everything that was going on. And I wanted to sprinkle some positivity by interviewing amazing people that are making differences in the community. And hence, the Sunday Morning Chat Series was born in 2020 and it was resurrected in 2024. And it always gives me great joy to actually interview fellow podcasters and see how they got their start, what the podcast is all about, and everything that's in between. So for me, I had a chance to check out this wonderful lady. She has an amazing podcast that you need to check out. And definitely have my phone right here. And I'd actually subscribe to her podcast. So please help me welcome none other than fellow podcaster Urmi Hossain. Hey, Urmi, how's it going?
I'm good, and you?
I'm doing very well now that you're here. And with that being said, are you ready to go?
I'm ready.
All right. So without any further delay, let's chat.
Yes.
Okay. Now, the first question I have for you is, I talked about you being a podcaster. Could you please tell me what your podcast is all about?
Yes. So my podcast is called Stories Beyond Borders. And basically, it's a podcast about storytelling of people that have moved around, people who are third culture kids, people who had to move for various reasons from one country to another, immigration stories. And it's a platform that I created to give a chance for people that are struggling when it comes to finding cultural identity or growing up between cultures to basically share their stories. So this is why it's called Stories Beyond Borders, because it's about stories that we want to hear that come from basically all over the world.
All right, that's truly fantastic. And each story has their own beginning, and especially with the podcast. Could you take us to the point where you first got created? What was that first day one like for you in creating this podcast? How'd you get started?
So here's the thing. It's very interesting that you asked me this question, because I think I never wanted to have a podcast, because I just feel like there's a lot of work to do. But what happened is I go to many podcasts. I go as a guest. And I told myself, I think it's time to switch the role and become the host. And let me tell you this, it was a long process when I started to create my own podcast, because I was like, there's a lot of thinking that goes into it. And I think people are not aware that there are so many steps to know before you launch your first, episode or the podcast. And what happened is my very first step was really like reaching out to some of my friends who have a podcast. And I asked them like, well, what were the steps? What do I need to do? And because I've been guests to so many podcasts, I learned by observing how they were doing things. The initial emails, or, sending out the questions, or doing a follow-up after the episode is out, or doing, some editing, asking for social media things. So it was a lot of the things I actually learned them through observation, basically. And so that was my very first step. But once I created it, it was very a fulfilling experience. I'm like, I can say I have my own podcast, Yeah.
I truly, it's a good feeling to have a podcast, and definitely a great sense of accomplishment. And I've been checking some of your episodes out. Oh my goodness, happy people! If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to her podcast, and we'll get to that later in the episode on how you can reach out to her. But I tell you what, it is truly fantastic, and you know what? This guy approves of this wonderful podcast that Urmi has right there.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, the third question I have for you is each of us have difficulties and challenges in actually getting the idea for a podcast off the ground, or there may be a situation that may be seen as a difficulty. Now, when it comes to getting your podcast off the ground and getting everything started, what has been some of the challenges that you were able to overcome into getting where you are today?
I think probably my biggest challenge has been maybe editing an episode, because I have no experience with editing, and I try to listen to other podcasters and how they were like, they always have an intro, they always have like a background music going on before, the conversation starts. They always have an ending. And so for me, it was really about this whole editing part that I was like, I have no experience in this. I don't know how I'm going to do this. Because it's one thing, for instance, if you have a YouTube channel where you can upload the raw conversation and keep it as genuine as possible. But I think when it's an audio, you really want to be careful about, the filler words, the the silences, and those are important. And sometimes, like when you're listening and you're paying attention, you pick on these things. So for me, the most challenging part has been the editing, but I would say that I'm getting better at this.
All right. And this editing is hard work. Definitely want to put out the good project. Really appreciate that.
Yes.
Now, another question I do have for you is we went through the challenges. Now let's go to the other end and talk about the best moments. And we have a plethora of best moments when it comes to different podcasts and episodes. And what have been some of the best moments that you experienced, Urmi?
Honestly, I think my best moments are the conversations that I have while I'm recording. I think most of the time, these people that I'm meeting, these are people that I do not know. These are not people from my circle. These are people that come from different countries, different parts of the world.
Mm-hmm.
But I can definitely tell you that it's been very inspirational and very beautiful to hear the stories from other people and getting to know them through, a podcast episode. I think, especially when you are a host, you do have to listen and pay attention. And so I would say for me, it has been just listening to the stories of my guests, and that has been really a proud moment for me. Yeah.
All right. Fantastic. Fantastic. Now, there's somebody out there that want to get into the podcast game right there for the first time, and they look at some of the episodes that you have, and they come to you and say, Urmi, I really appreciate the work that you're doing. You're an amazing person, and you inspire me to go into podcasting today. And I want to be just like you, and I want to be in your shoes when it comes to being a successful podcaster. Now, what could I do to actually be right where you are right now? If you were to have a new podcaster ask to talk to you about that, what advice would you give that new podcaster?
So I would give them a lot of tips, because I've seen how other people do it. And here's the thing, when it comes to podcasting, you have to do what's right for you. Meaning that if you feel like you have the capacity to post every week, go with that. But if you feel like that you don't have the time, then make sure that it's clear to your audience that you will be releasing an episode like every, I don't know, every second week, every third week. But whatever you do, just be consistent with that, because there is an expectation from the audience. That's the first step. The second step, I would say that you don't need to overwhelm yourself by having a 60-minute episode. You can start small. You could start with an episode that is as long as 20 minutes. And I would say that's a perfect length, because we do have all a short amount of, we have a short span of time when it comes to paying attention to things. And 20 minutes, I would say that's the best way to start. The third thing would be, do not expect to monetize right away. Because I think a lot of the times people think that with podcasting is much easier, but no, there is a lot of requirement. There are a lot of requirements. So do it because you do have an actual passion towards, you know, creating a podcast, giving a place for other people to tell the story. And then there's the whole logistics behind, which is make sure that you have, you know, like a place to record, you have a place to edit the stuff, make sure that you ask for like, that you find the right guests for you, make sure that you also find the right title that is catchy, you look for a niche, because everyone has a podcast, but I also say that no one does it the same way you do it. So that's also important that you bring a little bit of your own self and you show a little bit of your authentic self also to a podcast. And you can also start with solo episodes. You don't necessarily need to go with like guests, and solo episodes are also very fine as well. And I would say it's also very important to make sure that you do a heavy promotion of the episodes, a heavy promotion of the podcast, because there are so many podcasts out there and you want to make sure that you're asking for reviews, people to follow, people to write comments. And now I understand why people did that with me. It's because it shows in the algorithm. So it's also important to do that. So there are like little details that we don't think about, but they are there and they are very important. Small differences make a huge difference.
It certainly does, and it reminds me of the Atomic Habits, that book that I
Yeah,
read. It's just a small atom, and a small atom, if you take them piece by piece together, it makes a huge difference. So
I
that
agree.
is what your comments truly harken me to those Atomic Habits. And there's also another wise quote by Buddha that says, "A jug fills drop by drop." All it
Mm,
takes is those little drops that drop here and drop there, and if you don't look out, those drops will actually fill your jug. So those types of advice that you do have for the aspiring podcasters is solid and is definitely wise. Thank you for that much, Urmi.
no worries.
All right. Now, speaking of this wonderful podcast, now let's say that people that are watching this episode want to know, this Urmi Hossain sounds like a dynamite person. She sounds truly fantastic, and I want to know more about what she does in her podcast. And gee, I wonder where I could go for that. Now, if you see someone out there that wants to go to your podcast, where can they actually go to contact you on your podcast?
Well, my podcast is available in two platforms. The first one is Apple Podcasts, and second one is Spotify. And I also have an Instagram account for my own podcast. So I usually upload all of my posts there. I do a lot of promotion of my episodes. I give a lot of space for my guests to basically talk about themselves. So they can also find out more about my podcast through my Instagram account as well.
Now you say Instagram, okay? And I'll tell you what, you say Instagram. I have my phone right here, and I have my Instagram right there ready. And where could they go? I'm going to type it up right now. Is it Urmi Hussein?
It's actually Stories Beyond Borders podcast.
Stories Beyond Borders. I'm doing
Podcast.
typing it right now. This is up live in this is live in living color. Happy people. Stories Beyond Borders. Let's see if I can find you. Stories Beyond Borders podcast. And is it the globe with is it that globe as a picture?
That's right.
All right, so Stories Beyond Borders podcast, and there you go. We do have the globe right there, and I'm going to hit follow, and I'm going to do that, and I'm following that podcast, and see how easy is that? That is extremely easy to do because, hi people, all it takes is a few seconds to actually go to Instagram and check out Stories Beyond Borders. If I can do it, you can do it as well. So check it out, Stories Beyond Border on Instagram. So and Umi, you have yourself a new subscriber for Instagram.
Thank you.
All right. Now, another question I do have for you is actually this portion is called the shout out portion. Now, no one person can do anything by him or herself. Now, I have to ask you that there's so many people that can contribute to the success that they have right now. If you can give a shout out to the people who made this possible for you, who would you like to give a shout out to?
I would definitely say to my guest, because my podcast is all about one-to-one interviews, and I would have not done it without them. Like if they did not say yes to me from the beginning when I asked them to be a guest on my show, I wouldn't be where I am now. Like I already have, you know, 15 people lined up who want to be on my show. So I would definitely want to give my out to them, and I want to thank them for coming to my show. And it's so funny because my first episode that I have done, I had this person who is pretty big actually on social media, and I was not expecting him to say yes. And then I made I made my sister to listen to this episode, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, the guy that you're interviewing, he's so big, he's so famous. I cannot believe he agreed to be on your podcast." And I'm like, "Yeah, he did." And so honestly, I'm just grateful to my guests and them saying yes to come into my show, especially because I'm a beginner. You don't expect people saying yes to someone who's relatively new. So it makes a huge difference.
Well, I'll tell you what. I would say yes to you if you were to ask me to be on your podcast. I would say yes, and we can actually make it work and make it happen. So before you even ask, my answer to you is yes.
Thanks.
Let's get that taken care of.
Thanks.
All right, now the next question I have for you is the question to the people that watch this podcast and the fans that are called the happy people. And every time I have a guest on my podcast, the Sunday Morning Chat Series, they always take with them some great solid words of wisdom that will have them amazed and inspired. If you have a wise words of wisdom for my fans and my guests and my crew, the happy people, what would it be?
I would say, why do you want to wait for tomorrow when you can do it now? Yes.
That is perfect. Please say that one more time. Please say that one more time.
Why do you want to wait for tomorrow when you can do it now?
See, that was so good. She had to say it twice. And I tell you what, that is a perfect bookend to a wonderful episode of the Sunday Morning Chat Series with Jesse Oakley III. And on behalf of all the happy people that are watching all over the world, Urmi, I want to take this time to say thank you very much for being on the Sunday Morning Chat Series with Jesse Oakley III.
Thank you.
All right. And this concludes this episode of the Sunday Morning Chat Series with Jesse Oakley III. For more information about this podcast and other podcasts, go to prconnectionsradio.com. But wait, there is more. You can actually go to YouTube and type in PR Connections, and that way you get a chance to hear other podcasts, including this one, the Sunday Morning Chat Series. But wait, there's also more too. And I got to tell you that if you wanted some past episodes that I've done for the Sunday Morning Chat Series, you can also go to YouTube and type in Sunday Morning Chat Series, and you'll hear a plethora of positive people that are making big differences in the community from the episodes I've done in 2020, 2021, 2024, and right here in 2025. And this concludes on behalf of Urmi and all the happy people out there. This concludes the episode of the Sunday Morning Chat Series. And stay tuned for the next episode that will take place Sunday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Until then, you take care of yourselves and always, always, always have a great day. Bye.
Bye.
PR Connections Radio thanks you for watching this podcast. Check out more episodes of this show and our others at prconnectionsradio.com.